Hello guys and welcome to my channel. And when growing up, what was your childhood meal? I mean the food that you love to eat. No matter what the situation is, you will go all over that food. And today I'm going to be sharing with you my childhood meal.
Chicken, I love you so much every day, even in the...
So my childhood meal is just basic rice and oil with a salted beef. So with that, I start by cutting my salted beef. The salted beef can easily be found in any African market. If you can't find the salted beef, you can use any beef on the market, and which is fine to use. But I start by dicing my salted beef into little chunks. I mean, I don't want to use that big chunk because that would be necessary. I just want it to be so much full with a pan that I can, any scoop or any bite that I take, I can taste my salted beef. So I started by chopping my salted beef into small chunks. Well, make sure you do chop it. If you don't want to chop it, it's fine, but I recommend to be chopped so that you can taste it. I mean, when it's big you can easily chew it, but when it's small it mixes with your rice and you can easily chew and swallow. So after chopping it, I put it in my bowl and I wash it. I mean, take your time and wash it. If you wash it, it takes all the dirt. Just basic water. And I start by chopping my onion. I'm using 1 loaf of red onion. I mean, these are the easy way to chop the onion. You can tintle it up and chop it straight up, down, or you can dice it whichever way you prefer your onion to be with your meal. It is fine or it is optional to do. Make sure you do subscribe to my channel. After chopping or dicing the onion, I separate them into pieces because I don't want all to smush in my food. I want it all over. So I try separating the onions and what then I'm using is the red onion. After I'm done dicing, I put a pan on the fire with a teaspoon of oil. I mean, you don't have to put too much oil because basically the beef is full of fat, and fat, once fat melts, it turns into oil. I added a teaspoon of butter. I mean, butter is also optional to use. If you don't like oil, you can use butter. If you don't like butter, you can use oil. So after I added my salted beef to marinate in my oil and butter, and I'm telling you, it smells so good. So once it's marinated, this is how it's supposed to look like. You see, as much oil you can get is as much fat that was on the salted beef. I added my black and lemon pepper seasoning, which is optional to use. That gives it more flavor to do. I mean, and then I added a teaspoon of ginger. With this, ginger gives it additional flavor and it takes it to another level. Once I added the ginger, I marinated it for a few minutes. I mean, I want to make sure my ginger and my lemon pepper is incorporated with my salted beef. I added garlic and ginger powder as well. I mean, the flavors are on and on and on to go. So once you can scoop the oil from the bottom, that tells you your beef is done. So I added my diced onion to marinate it for a few seconds. I mean, you don't have to cook the onion through because then you will lose all the nutrients or you will lose the onion. I want to be able to see my onion in my oil and rice, and the kitchen smell so delicious. So a few minutes, take it. If you're able to switch it, then that means your beef is done. So as you can see, so make sure you do subscribe to my channel, like the video, share, and let me know what your childhood meal is. So after the seasoning of the salted beef, I added a whole cup of water into it. So make sure I added the ginger, and once I added the ginger, I added the turmeric. I mean, turmeric gives it a different flavor, or can change your plain rice into a bit yellow rice. It's optional to use. If you don't like it, you don't have to use it. I mean, do it the way you like it. This is how I know, and this is how my childhood meal is. So once I tasted that the salt wasn't enough, I added a little bit more and I covered for my marinara or the broth to boil. So now I'm gonna be taking my habanero pepper. This habanero pepper, I don't like the seed in it, so what I do is to cut it open and take the seeds out. Also, it's optional, you can use the blender, but this is the typical African rice and oil. The way I know how I saw my family do it is how I'm doing it. So I'm not going to use any blender. I'm just taking the seed out and chopped it into pieces. I mean, the kitchen smells so good. I can smell my ginger, the pepper in my rice. So I'm using 3 tomatoes. Also, I'll do the same thing to the tomatoes. Cut it open and take the seeds out. I don't want the seed in my sauce. The seed is in it. It's optional. You can blend it all together, but I prefer not to. So I take out the seed, out the tomatoes. It's optional. You can blend it, chop it and blend it as well, which is fine. So I'm going to be putting So once you check and it's not boiled, cover it and wait like 5 minutes. And once it boils, as you can see, I'm telling you, if you can smell the aroma in the broth or the salted beef and the ginger, the garlic. I mean, now wash the cup of rice. I mean, I wash this. I'm cooking a large batch, so which is okay. You can use option, but I'm going to put all the comment and the measurement in the description, as you can see, and you can follow this recipe. So once I put my rice in, I mix it up, and I know once you know the water is too much, I take some of the broth out because I want to keep that oil. So I try to swirl it to take the oil out, and I'll cover it to cook. So once you put it in it, turn your heat into a medium heat and let your rice cook slowly. Don't rush the process. So once I cover it again and I let the rice do their own thing, and this is what I'm looking for. So the rice is hard, so I put a little bit the broth back on the rice, covered it with the rice. Easy the back. So this is what's supposed to look like with the seed out. So I'm using this name. I don't know the name for it. If you know the name, please leave it in my comment below. In my dialect, it is called asanka. Most African people use it to eat fufu. You can use it to ground your pepper. I mean, if you use this asanka, if you know the English name, please make sure you do comment on the video. So what I did was I put all the ginger, the habanero pepper and the tomato and the onion, and this is how it's supposed to look like after you use the asanka. So I did not wash it. I kept this because that's the whole point. Once you ground your pepper in it, you can pull, and now you see the rice is done. So what I do is I take a little bit once you smoosh it, and it's okay to your preferable or how you like it. I like my wine very soft, not too hard. The rice is done. So what I did, even though my onions are all gone, I sprinkle fresh onion on it and I cover it for the heat to marinate into the onion. And this is how your rice is supposed to look like. I mean, it smells so good. What I did, I fried some egg with onion, pepper, and I mean, the kitchen, it smells so good. I mean, the flavors are all over my kitchen. I wish you're here to smell it. And this is how it's supposed to look like. You can see the heat. And again, I want you to make sure you do like, share, subscribe to my video. I mean, the food is so amazing and the kitchen smells so good. Again, thank you for watching my video. Make sure you do subscribe, like the video, and share, and let me know what your childhood meal is. I will see you. Bye.